Bollocks to your Ben Fosters, bollocks to your Mark Goldbridges. They did this video a little while ago, and let me tell you, I ever so slightly disagree. So here is the real team of the season so far in the Premier League. And let me tell you, am I playing with fire making this video just before a round of Premier League fixtures where someone that I've picked could make a right tit of themselves? Yes, I am, but my middle name is William, and when you translate that back from ye olde Scottish, that means ever so slightly risky. So let's go, baby, and we're kicking things off with Nick Pope of Newcastle United, the best goalkeeper in the Premier League so far this season, and the numbers, they speak for themselves. 12 clean sheets for Nick Pope at Newcastle United so far. That puts them 3 ahead of David De Gea and Manchester United in the next most clean sheets they've kept so far this season. And I reckon David De Gea, just while we're mentioning his name, he's probably been the 4th pick for goalkeeper of the season so far. De Gea, then Raya of Brentford's been fantastic. Ramsdale of Arsenal, been sensational. But Nick Pope has not only got the numbers to back up that claim, but also the performances to boot. He hasn't put a single boot wrong for Newcastle United so far this season, because you're looking at 12 clean sheets and you're probably thinking to yourself that Newcastle backline has kept Nick Pope really protected, but that hasn't been the case. Nick Pope is the main reason Newcastle United have only lost 1 game, as I'm sat here right now with the game against Liverpool to come later on today. Hopefully that stat stays in date, but if it doesn't, it's been a hell of a run, Newcastle. 1 defeat isn't too bad, but Nick Pope, time and time again, big save after big save, and even when he's had little to do in a game, it's probably the best example of him making a miraculous save was against Crystal Palace away. He's had now to do for the entire game, but boop, he's plucked one out the top corner and kept that fantastic record for Newcastle United going. So Nick Pope, 10 million quid from Burnley, remember. Got to be one of the deals of the season. And next up, we're moving on to the back 4. And I know what you're saying straight away, Ross. You're a huge ginger twat. You've got a really centre-back at left-back. And let me tell you, asking me to pick the best left-back of the Premier League season so far is like asking me to pick my favourite brand of basmati bastard rice. They're all the bloody same. Nobody stands out. They're all fine as well. No left-back has stood out for me. So I've picked Sven Botman, who is left-footed and was also going to be one of my first choice centre-halves, but because there's no obvious left-back, I've got to go Botman at left-back. He is that perfect blend of prime Rio Ferdinand, like silky as balls, lovely on the ball, absolutely sensational stuff, but when the ball's in the air, he's like prime Razor Ruddock, let me tell you. He'll stick his bonce on anything. Absolutely fantastic stuff there. Thiago Silva, despite being 72 years of age, is probably my 3rd pick in the centre-half ranks of the season so far, but the fact that he is 72 years of age obviously means he's got a great deal of experience, and obviously means he's always in the right place at the right time. While Chelsea have been absolutely crap so far this season, Thiago Silva has been by far and away, I think, their standout performer and one of the best centre-halves in the league, despite the fact he is 72 years of age. The best centre-half in the league so far this season for me, though, has been Willy Saliba, who has made the guy who makes the loan deals for Arsenal. Is that Edu? I've got no idea. He's made their loan manager look like a right dick, because sending him out on loan, over and over again, and then him to come back in, slot seamlessly into this back 4 and be absolutely sensational, has made that guy, whoever makes the loan deals for Arsenal, look like a right weapon. Yes, he has the most annoying chat in the league, but that's not his fault. That's the Arsenal fans' fault, because they've only got one song. Willy Saliba has been absolutely fantastic for Arsenal this season, and by far and away, I think, the best centre-half in the Premier League so far this season. Kieran Trippier is the best right-back currently in the Premier League, I think, on performances alone. I know other players have bigger reputations. Other players can probably do more than Kieran Trippier can do. But so far this season, Kieran Trippier, again, has put very little feet wrong, if that makes any sense. He's also a fantasy football manager's dream. He gets the clean sheets. He gets some assists. He gets the odd goal here and there. That fantastic free kick against Manchester City's got to be one of the goals of the season so far. But it's just the fact of how he runs games from right back, which impresses me so much. Watching Newcastle on the regular, he barks at his teammates and you can see him telling them where to go, what to do. He's just running the game from right back. It would not surprise me if Kieran Trippier, just the way that he appears to be, would go on to be a top-class manager in years to come. Because you think back here when he joined us from Atletico, and you're thinking, oh, he's getting on a bit, he's Obviously got a big reputation, just wants to come back to the Premier League to see out the final years of his career, get a big dirty Saudi money deal. But that's far from the case. He wanted to come back home to be up north and be closer to his family and whatnot. He said if he wanted to keep the money, he would have stayed at Atletico Madrid. He took a little pay cut, I think, to come back to Newcastle. I think he said that under the cosh. He's been absolutely sensational, and I cannot speak highly enough of Kieran Trippier. Midfield 3, we're playing 4-3-3. Odegaard is the first pick in there. His performances for Arsenal as captain, by the way, taking them to the very top of the Premier League for much of this season, have been absolutely fantastic. I don't know what else you say there. He's just fulfilling the potential we all saw on FIFA or Football Manager 10 years ago, whatever the bloody hell it was. He's absolutely fantastic. Casemiro, you're looking at 70 million. You're looking at a potential 5-year deal. It was 4 years with the option of a 5th. You're looking at him being 30 years of age. You're looking at Manchester United start to the Premier League season, and you're thinking, oh, God, they're panicking. They are really panicking by just spunking all that money on him. But by bugger me, hasn't he proven everybody wrong? I always thought that he was, now this is going to be a quote, I always thought he was of the John Obi Mikel ilk, in that he would sit in front of the back four and play the simple ball and be that real just nothingness in that CDM role, but he is everything a midfielder has to be in the Premier League. He's up and down that pitch. He's here, there, and everywhere. He's got a bit of razzle-dazzle, a bit of je ne sais quoi, a bit of va-va-voom. He's got the range of passing. He's got everything, and I reckon he's been just behind Odegaard as the second best midfielder in the entire league so far this season. And then we have Xhaka. I think back to when Newcastle spunked all over Arsenal, costing them the Champions League back in May of 2022. And he did that weird interview after the game, didn't he? He said, all the players need big balls. We need big balls to get places. And I'm sitting there thinking, how can you say that to anybody else when you've got the tiniest little pebbles yourself there, Xhaka, you big old letdown? But he's come back this season, and his form, his leadership, he's much like Trippier by the looks of things to me, who doesn't watch Arsenal every week. It appears that he just barks at people and makes them go in certain places and makes them play in a certain way. It just looks like he's the one who's dragging Arsenal when they're not maybe winning a game comfortably and getting them over the finishing line as and when they need to, apart from obviously that game against Manchester City very recently. But that's me midfield 3. And I think the front 3 is the 3 that picks itself quite easily. Saka is the one that just missed out for me, but Miguel Almiron, 10 goals so far this season. Watching him before this season for Newcastle United is the most frustrating thing I have ever done in my life. And let me tell you, I love watching walls of paint dry. He could do everything apart from kick at football. He could run 17 million miles a game. But when it came to that final pass, when it came to shooting, I reckon I could have been better than Miguel Almiron before this season. But he's come back in the summer after Jack Grealish said, oh, playing like, oh my God. And Jack Grealish has prodded a monster with a stick and woken him up. And 10 goals, it speaks for itself. If anything, the World Cup came at the worst time for Miggy, because he hasn't been as good since since we all came back from the World Cup. And before that, that form, that string of games where he's scoring goal after goal after goal, that gets him a spot in this team. Because I think, while Saka's been absolutely fantastic, he didn't have that, like, not trailblazing, that just amazing run of games where he was winning games by himself for Newcastle, getting big goals, doing all the things. I just think that's what sets him apart. That little run of games in the autumn there, that's what sets him apart from Saka. Marcus Rashford is the other way around. He maybe wasn't doing the best up until the World Cup, and then the World Cup sort of turned his world upside down. He was England's leading light in attack, I thought, in Qatar, and he's come back from the World Cup and he's continued that form. 12 goals now for Marcus Rashford. I think that form and the way he's playing, he's like a more direct Thierry Henry in many ways, isn't he? He gets the ball, he just drives and he drives and he drives, cuts inside as a shot, goes on the outside, crosses it in. He's having a fantastic time, and he's getting in the middle and getting headed goals and stuff like that. He's got everything to his game at the moment, and that speaks for itself. And speaking for itself, Erling Haaland, 26 goals in 22 appearances. Say no more. He's absolutely fantastic. No matter what Jamie Carragher has to say about using him right, you know, I'll chip the ball in there, Jamie Carragher likes to say. So he can run to it, use his big legs and whatnot to do that sort of stuff. That doesn't matter. The goal record means he has to go in there. And as for manager of the season, up until this week, I was going to go for Mikel Arteta, but I think if he got a result against Manchester City, it would have been beyond any shadow of any doubt Mikel Arteta manager of the season. But I just think you look at the players Newcastle have signed, and I know you're going to call me biased, but you look at the players Newcastle have signed. Yes, Botman looks fantastic. Yes, Bruno's fantastic. Isak, yes, they've spent money on him, but he hasn't been there for all but 3 or 4 games this season, I think it is. Eddie Howe's job of getting Newcastle into the top 4 with the players at his disposal has been absolutely sensational. I think the hope for every Newcastle fan at the start of this campaign was the top 10, but to be sat here towards March, being in the Carabao Cup final, being in the top 4, it's got to be Eddie Howe for me. So there we have it. The team and manager of the season so far. Let me know what yours are in the comments down below. Give this channel a subscribe. I've got a working microphone. Some more videos are coming out. Being Ross Tweddell. Take that, Ben Foster and Mark Goldbridge. And I'll see you very soon indeed.